I had no energy, no answers, and no one except her. Or so I thought. Then she texted, "Watching you sick scared me." That's all I got after months of silence. I don't know if this is going to make me sound bitter or petty or dramatic, or maybe all three, but every time someone says true friendship lasts through anything, I get this sharp knot in my stomach. Because honestly, that hasn't been my experience. Not even close. About a year and a half ago, I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disorder. I won't name it here. It's not super rare or anything dramatic, but it hit me hard. Basically, my immune system flipped the hell out and started attacking my own body. It felt like I had the worst flu of my life mixed with a hangover and muscle cramps and brain fog, all at once. Every day. For weeks. I couldn't keep food down. I couldn't even walk to the bathroom without needing to rest after. I was 25, and suddenly my body felt like it aged 60 years overnight. But this story isn't about my illness. It's about my best friend, Erin. Or I guess, ex-best friend now. We met in high school, 10th grade. She was loud and wild in a way I admired from a distance at first. She swore all the time, stole vodka from her stepdad, skipped class to drive to the beach at 2 p.m., and also somehow got straight A's, which pissed me off in a weirdly respectful way. She took me under her wing when I was going through a really bad phase with my mom, and we just clicked. Like in a sleepover 5 nights a week, finish each other's texts kind of way. We did everything together for over 10 years, graduated together, got our first tattoos together at 19, laughed through breakups, hung over Sundays, job rejections, family BS. She was the one who dragged me out of my bed when I thought I'd never recover from my cheating ex. The one I called on New Year's 2020 when I thought I was having a panic attack and she Ubered across town with ice cream and Advil, even though she was already tipsy at a party. She called me her person constantly. I honestly thought we'd grow old on neighboring porches one day, wine-drunk in floral robes, yelling at kids to get off our lawns. So yeah, when I got sick, I expected her to be there. I needed her to be there, in a way I'd never needed anyone before. At first, I didn't even tell many people, but she was the exception. The diagnosis came after a super scary ER visit where I fainted in my kitchen and hit my head. Erin was my emergency contact. She didn't pick up when the hospital called, which I brushed off. But I texted her and she texted back the next day like, "OMG, are you okay? That's insane. What even is autoimmune?" I thought, okay, that's fine. It's a lot. Maybe she's just processing. I explained it. Well, tried to. It's hard to describe something invisible that wrecks your body every second. But I tried. I said I'd be out of work for a while, probably wouldn't be going out much. She said something like, "Ugh, babe, that sucks," and sent me a meme. Then another. Then nothing. She didn't come see me. Not once. And I kept waiting. At first I gave her every benefit of the doubt. She's busy. She's stressed. Maybe she's scared. Maybe she doesn't know what to say. I mean, Erin's not known for emotional tenderness. But not even a call. Not a single text to ask how I was actually doing. It got hard to keep defending her in my head. My other friends, even people I wasn't that close with, were dropping off super groceries or texting me just to ask if I wanted to vent. One old coworker I barely talked to DM me to ask if I needed help around the house. Erin, nothing. I didn't hear from her for almost 3 months. 3 months. During that time I had some dark days. I don't say that lightly. There were moments when I'd lay in bed and stare at the ceiling thinking, this might never get better. I wondered if I'd lose my job, my independence, whether I'd ever date again, hike again, dance again. Hell, I miss laughing. And on the worst nights, I missed my old life so painfully, it felt like a literal living grief. Like I was mourning myself. And Erin knew. She knew what this kind of loneliness would do to me. She'd seen me after my dad died. A weirdly similar kind of numb. I think that's partly what stings the most. Like, she already knew how fragile I could get when life slammed me in ways I couldn't fix. And still radio silence. So, yeah, eventually I cracked. I texted her during a bad flare-up. Just said something simple. "Hey, I've been really struggling. I miss you. I don't understand why you've disappeared." She replied 8 days later. 8. The message was short. Just, "I feel like I need to be honest with you, but I'm scared it's going to hurt more than help." That sent me spiraling all over again. Hurt more than help what? Was she hiding something? Mad at me for something I didn't even remember? I finally got the truth when I asked her to just say it. And I'll never forget her reply. It was in the middle of the night, just after 2 a.m., and I remember reading it over and over, hoping I'd misread it somehow. She said, and I swear this is word for word, "I know this is awful, but being around sick people freaks me out. It makes me feel powerless. Watching you like that, it was like seeing death too close. I just couldn't handle it, and I didn't want to pretend or make promises I couldn't keep. I know that makes me a bad friend, but I honestly think we're in such different phases of life now. It's not the same." That's when I knew, like actually knew, that our friendship was done. And yet somehow, I didn't even block her. Not right away. After that message, I just sat there in the dark staring at my phone, like maybe if I stared long enough the words would rearrange themselves into something kinder. Something more salvageable. But no. Every time I reread it, it only got worse. I didn't even cry, which is weird. I just went completely still. Like my body couldn't afford another wave of pain, so it just shut everything off. You ever feel so hurt that it almost doesn't feel real? Like you're underwater or dreaming, or maybe your brain's just trying to buy you time while it catches up. That's exactly how it felt. I didn't text her back. I couldn't. Not right away. I think I left it unread for like 2 days, even though I'd already memorized it. I tried to think of what to say. How the hell do you respond to a confession like that? I couldn't handle seeing you sick, so I ghosted. Who says that? And the part about different life phases, God, that just set me over the edge. Like I'd somehow aged out of being worthy of her friendship just because my body decided to implode? Like I'd stopped being the version of me that was worth showing up for? The thing is, I got it. Or at least part of it. Erin hated vulnerability. She always had. Anytime anyone cried in front of her, she'd stiffen up like someone handed her a live grenade. She made jokes at funerals. She bailed on hospital visits, even when her uncle was dying. I remember when she told me about that with shame in her voice, like she knew it was wrong but didn't know how to be different. So on some level, I knew this wasn't personal. This was her own crap. Her deep fear of loss or weakness, or whatever it was. I truly try to hold that nuance. I swear I tried. But telling yourself a sad story came from her own issues doesn't make it hurt any less when you're the one left behind. A couple more days passed, and then I got a card in the mail from her. No return address. No note inside, just a blank card with her handwriting on the left page. I'm sorry I wasn't who you needed. I love you. I always will. And that broke me. Because it was so Erin. To do a grand, emotionally stunted gesture from afar instead of showing up in any tangible way. I think that's the moment it finally clicked. She loved me, the way she could. But not in the way I needed. And maybe she never really did. Not fully. Not when it wasn't fun anymore. So yeah, I wrote back. Not in a card or some grand message. Just a text, because I needed it off my chest and out of my body. I said, I understand you reacted from fear. But I needed you. And you chose yourself. I won't hate you for that. But I can't make space for someone who disappears when things get real. I thought we'd be in this for life. I was wrong. Take care. And that was it. No reply. Nothing ever again. For a while, I couldn't stop picking apart the friendship like it was some kind of crime scene. Replaying old memories. Second-guessing everything I thought was solid. Was she just keeping me around because I was fun back then? Or because I always made her laugh? Or because I listened to her family troubles but didn't burden her with mine as much? I kept wondering, had she always been this selfish? And I was just too blinded by history to notice. It messed up with my head more than I want to admit. I started thinking about all those nights we stayed up talking about the future. Us traveling together, starting businesses, being each other's bridesmaids. I remember the road trips, the dumb fights over playlists, the time we took mushrooms and cried over grilled cheese sandwiches. All of it suddenly felt cheap, like props from a friendship play we were both acting in, but she already had one foot off stage the whole time. But then one morning, I don't even know what changed. I just woke up and realized I didn't miss her anymore. Or maybe I still did in a way, but I didn't feel that hollow ache in my chest. I didn't replay conversations. I didn't flip through old photos to torture myself. It was like my body had been grieving her like a death, and the grief finally started to let go. And at the same time, almost comically, my body was actually getting better. It was slow and ugly, and there were setbacks, but I started getting out of bed more days than I stayed in it. I had color in my face again. I could walk to the store and back without needing a nap. My doctor found a better med combo, and it started working. My appetite came back. So did my sex drive. I even went on a date, and for the first time in a year, I laughed in that dumb giddy, oops he's hot, way I used to. It felt like I was beginning to live again. Not the same life, but something new. Something quieter. Slower. Maybe less sparkly, sure, but richer in a way I can't explain yet. And guess what? Other friends stuck around. My neighbor, who I barely knew before, started coming by with snacks and folding laundry with me while we watched garbage true crime. A girl I'd met once at a mutual friend's birthday hit me up to go on slow, short walks every Saturday. I even reconnected with my cousin, who sent me goofy selfies every morning just to get me to smile. Like, people showed up, in small, honest ways. No big poetic declarations. Just consistency. And it weirdly taught me something I keep coming back to. Sometimes, you don't know who your real people are until you're no longer fun to be around. The truth is, Erin didn't just leave me when I got sick. She left the minute I stopped being useful to her version of joy. After it all, the weirdest part was how invisible the heartbreak felt to other people. You break up with a boyfriend. Everyone rallies. They send wine and playlists and TikToks about healing your inner goddess. But lose a best friend, especially one you've had forever, and it's like no one knows what to say. Or worse, they don't think it's even that deep. But it was that deep. It was deeper. Erin knew layers of me that no one else ever touched. Not even my exes. She saw me without makeup and hope. She saw me cry so hard I threw up. She held my hair back and told me I wasn't crazy when I screamed at the sky after my dad's funeral. You don't toss that kind of closeness aside like an old hoodie that doesn't fit anymore. You shouldn't anyway. The gut punch. Sometimes I'd be out, like walking through Target or grabbing tea, and I'd see someone who looked just like her. Same messy bun, same gait, sort of like a lazy strut, like she ruled the floor. For the briefest second my body would forget where we stood. I'd instinctively smile or half wave, until reality caught up and smacked me clean across the face. She doesn't walk beside me anymore. She hasn't in a long time. And still I dream about her. Stupid dreams. We'd be 17 again, stealing nail polish from CVS. Or us in our 20s singing along, loudly and off-key, to early 2000s pop. Sometimes she'd be older, in the dreams, like me, asking where I'd been, as if I disappeared. It always made me wake up confused. I checked my phone, forgetting again. There was nothing from her and never would be again. Grief is such a weird shapeshifter. You think you've buried it, and then it shows up in the produce aisle while our song plays on the store radio. There was this one day, I don't know, maybe a month ago, I was at this small park not far from my place. They've got these little free libraries on wooden posts, and I stopped to browse. Mostly kids' books and water-damaged leftovers, but one caught my eye, Tiny Beautiful Things by Cheryl Strayed. I'd read it before, years ago. Erin actually gave me my first copy. I opened it, and sure enough, page 47, the underlines. Her handwriting. I swear on my life, it was her damn copy. I stood there holding it like it might explode. It was surreal. Like the universe had decided to throw her presence back at me just to watch me squirm. But it didn't trigger some huge breakdown. It just kind of landed. Like, yeah, she was a massive part of your life. And now she's not. And life goes on. I didn't take the book. I closed it, put it back, walked home. No dramatic epiphany. Just this tiny ache behind my ribs that I think might always live there, a little scar with her name tattooed underneath. Healing's not flashy. No award shows. No milestones. It's boring sometimes. Annoying. Sometimes it even feels like guilt. For laughing again. For being okay. For meeting new people and making new inside jokes. For living a version of joy that doesn't have her in it. But God, it's also freeing. Like now, my world is smaller but deeper. Softer in places, sharper in others. The people in it are the type who don't flinch when things get inconvenient. They're the ones who send sleepy voice notes or remember my doctor appointments or break down medical articles with me when I can't focus. They're not placeholders for Erin. They're different. They're what I need now. Not just people who liked the old me. And yeah, I've changed. I don't party much anymore. I can't drink like I used to. I take meds that mess with my memory some days. I walk slower. I move carefully. I spend more time in doctors' offices than at brunch. I've canceled more plans than I've kept. But I've also learned to sit still with myself. To ask, is this person here for me, or for the version of me that entertains them? That question alone has trimmed my social circle in half. But the ones left, man, they're solid. I guess I used to think shared laughter was the glue. That if you could survive the highs, you'd kill it through the lows. But turns out the opposite is true. Surviving someone's lows, that's the real test. When I picture Erin now, and I still do, more than I'll willingly admit, I try to see her as human, not villain. I think she panicked. I think I scared her. I think my suffering made her confront a fragility in herself she wasn't ready for. And instead of rising to meet it, she ran. People do that. Doesn't mean they're evil. Doesn't mean you have to let them come back. It took me a long time to stop waiting for her. For months I'd imagined she'd show up randomly, coffee in hand, crying a little, saying she screwed up. That she didn't know how deep she'd hurt me until it was too late. I played that fantasy so often in my head, it felt like muscle memory. Now, I don't replay it anymore. And in some twisted way, I thank her. Not for the abandonment, I'll never praise that, but for the clarity. The honesty, brutal as it was. Because I know, without a doubt, who's really in my corner now. And I know who never really was. It's strange how silence becomes its own answer. People always talk about closure like it's this neatly wrapped thing you get handed at the end. A moment. A conversation. A mutual understanding. Something that puts a period on the sentence so you can finally move on. But sometimes, closure is just no reply. Sometimes, it's realizing they were capable of leaving, and they did. No explosion. No last-minute change of heart. Just empty air where a friendship used to live. And you learn to breathe in that space. I think the worst part, and the most relieving, is understanding that some relationships aren't meant to be lifelong. Even the ones you swore were. Even the ones that felt so fused to your identity, you couldn't imagine who you were without them. Sometimes people are exactly what you need for a while. For a chapter. For whatever version of yourself existed back then. And then your life shifts. Or theirs does. And the bridge between you starts to crack. Slowly at first. A missed call. A canceled plan. A strange distance you can't explain but can absolutely feel. Then one day, you realize the bridge broke a long time ago, and you've just been standing at the edge, hoping she'd show up with rope. What I kept coming back to, over and over, wasn't Erin's absence. It was her choice. People can be scared. People can be flawed. But she chose to look at my pain and walk away. That wasn't a moment of weakness. That was a decision. And I made mine too. I let her go. Fully. Erin doesn't haunt me anymore, not the way she used to. I still think of her, yeah. Sometimes when I hear a Taylor Swift song from 2013, or smell that absurd Bath and Body Works perfume she loved that always gave me a headache. But it's less like a wound now, and more like a faded bruise on my memory. Press it. And yeah, there's still something there, but it doesn't twist the knife like before. And I'll admit, part of me still wonders if she thinks about me. If she regrets it. If she ever replays our 2 a.m. conversations or laughs at a stupid Vine reference and immediately thinks I should text her. But she hasn't. And that silence, again, is an answer. When I tell people now, usually when the topic comes up naturally, like people talking about growing apart from old friends, I just say, we're not close anymore. Life kind of took you as separate ways. It sounds mature, safe, non-dramatic. Most people nod, blink, move on. But sometimes someone will ask, did something happen between you? And I'll pause. Then I'll say, yeah, I got sick. And she couldn't stick around for that part of me. And the people who understand, like really, feel that, they don't ask anything else. They just nod. And I know they get it. What it means to be dropped when you become hard to love. To be left behind not because you did something wrong, but because being near you made someone else feel too much. I've started trusting those quiet recognitions more. The tired eyes. The people who don't flinch when you say you were abandoned at your worst. Those are the ones who've also been cracked open by life. Who've outlasted broken friendships. Who've watched love rot when things got inconvenient. Those are my people now. I've also stopped apologizing for not being the me I used to be. I don't apologize for canceling when I'm flaring. I don't shrink myself down in text to seem more fun. I don't pretend to bounce back faster than I do. If someone can't hold space for the reality of who I am, now, today, they don't get access to me. It's been liberating. And honestly heartbreaking. But beautifully so. I'm not angry anymore. Not really. I think I was. For a long time. But now I just feel older. Like something hardened and softened at once. I know what absence feels like. But I also know the warmth of presence, offered freely, without expectation. That changes you. Some nights I sit in bed with a cup of tea, rewatching some dumb comfort show, hearing my body buzz with exhaustion but also safety. I made it through. I'm still here. And though I don't have Erin, I've got myself. And these days, that feels like more than enough. Sometimes I wish I could talk to the version of me who kept checking her phone, kept walking to the mailbox hoping for an apology, kept writing unsent paragraphs in my notes app like I was rehearsing a conversation that would never happen. I think I'd just hug her. Tell her she wasn't dramatic for hurting. That she wasn't weak. That people leave for reasons that have nothing to do with our worth. And that one day, that old friendship would stop being an open wound and start becoming just another layer of skin. Tough. Weathered. But healed. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Not for revenge. Not for pity. Just because it happened. And it changed me. And I don't think we tell the truth about these kinds of goodbyes often enough.